Fantastic. So you're kind of co-collaborating in the creation of the jobs to really make it responsive as possible.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. So you obviously care a lot about what you do. Why are you passionate about your job, Sarah?
I love my job because I feel like I'm meeting people every day, different people, and I'm building different relationships, and I'm giving back what I got from my own recovery, my own history, and helping others on their road to recovery.
Wow. So really you're giving back a piece of yourself because of the people that have propelled you forward.
Right.
Kind of playing it forward. I think I think that might be a movie, but I think it's also a movement. So, Susan, can you tell us why you're passionate about your job?
I'm passionate about the work that I do because it's something I truly believe in. I feel like I'm truly meant to do it, and it's something that I learn from every day. I learn from the people that I work with. I learn from the work day. I learn from my coworker, and I learn from the structure and from the people that come in all the time. Learning from each other and how it's set up and the process and the recovery journey in itself too.
Absolutely. Now, what strengths have you learned along the lines? Because you say you learn from other people through the process. What strengths have you learned that have helped you in your own recovery?
Definitely flexibility, because I feel that life has just thrown so much, and recovery doesn't stop just because you have a bad moment or a bad day. And also maintaining a positive attitude is crucial to the recovery journey, and working in an environment where things can change at the drop of a hat, and new people and change, and different attitudes and adjustments need to be made, and flexibility along with a positive attitude are all two crucial things that I feel like I've learned and continue to learn.
Absolutely, and I always say, like, the day that I stop learning is the day where I get a new job. We often give people the advice that if you know 80% of your job, it's time to leave it, because you don't want to get to the point where you're like, I don't want to go in today, I really don't like that. And it sounds like for you, Sarah, it's really been important. You've stayed there a great number of years and been able to still contribute and evolve and contribute more fully.
Like create my own job,
yes.
Sort of just keep finding new things and new things to try, and going to conferences and getting ideas and then bringing them back and seeing if they work in the workplace, kind of.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Has that fueled your passion for the job?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like trying new things, and like each person is an individual that I meet with, so I learn about them and what works for them, and like set a goal, help them set their goals and work towards their goals and their individual journey.
Yes.
So that's what made it easier to stay at that job, because that drove me.
Absolutely. To kind of create your niche and how you can really fully help people is so important. And what supports have been important in your recovery?
I talk to my parents every day in Iowa for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's just like checking in and seeing how they're doing. My husband and I both have similar illnesses, so he's been a really help in comforting me with the different diagnoses or just different symptoms that happen. And I also have a lot of friends and coworkers and people. And I have 2 doctors, and my primary care is really awesome, and my psychiatrist, and I have a therapist. So.
Great. So all those supports are crucial. And we say here at Employment for All that everyone can be successful with the right supports. And you're talking about that really specifically to say, well, I need all these different supports, even just a phone call every day to your parents. How are you doing? How are things going? What's new with you? Just kind of making that connection every day sounds like a really important support for you. That's fantastic. And we do encourage people to build their support networks, because we can't do it alone, and nor would it be any fun. You really have to figure out, well, who do you connect to? And peer support sounds like it's a really strong tie throughout your life.
Yeah, definitely.
In many different features. That's great. Susan, what about you in terms of what supports have been important for you in your recovery?
I have an incredible support network made up of people that I used to work with and people that I continue working with today. Just treatment providers and the love and support of my friends and family, and actually recovery-oriented groups that I go to myself, being my main priority is taking care of me, because if I don't do that, then I can't work. I never really thought that I would be able to, but now that I can, and being in recovery, doing that I want to make sure that my own recovery is my priority so I can continue to work and continue doing what I love.
Absolutely, and often people don't think of that. We talk a lot about self-care, and people are like, I don't understand. No, I'm helping other people, but unless you take care of yourself, and I love the analogy of putting the oxygen mask on yourself first. And I remember being younger and hearing that analogy and being like, no, the kid needs, if you're traveling with a young child, oh, we've got to save the kid first. But someone said to me, well, the kid won't be alive if you don't put the oxygen mask on yourself first and know how to negotiate the situation, because if the kid is okay, but no one's there to really help facilitate the process. And you can't really help anyone unless you stay true to yourself and take care of your needs. And it's really true. I find that people gravitate towards the people who do take care of themselves, and I do a lot of peer trainings, and when people get that, it kind of clicks, like, oh, boy, you'd listen to the advice of someone who's really doing what they're talking about. They're really congruent with what they say. I know I've helped people a lot of times with resumes, and my resume is always up to date, and people say like, oh, can I have your resume? And I say yes, because it's always current, and you need to have that current resume, because otherwise you lose credibility. Like I tell people, keep your resume current. It's very important. And I'll tell a lot of people to practice self-care, and I say, well, I'm at yoga on Saturday mornings, and I usually get to the gym a couple other times, in different levels. And if I don't, then I readjust the next week. There are some weeks where you can't, and then you kind of find that, I don't know if you find a balance, but you found a way to make it work so that it works for you. I think balance is kind of this term that makes people feel bad, like, I have to have everything balanced. Like, that's a precarious way to be. But we're talking about how to integrate practices that work well for you. Now, peer support seems to be a very important piece. Can we define peer support a little bit more? Sarah, you have...
Well, as Lynn Legier and Pat Nimick have told me, the thing that makes peers unique is that they can tell their story. And they can do it in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 second, what little snippets that help, always looking to help the other person with their recovery. But what makes them unique is that they can over and over tell the story of their life and have a connection on that level that with the peer, the participant. And they have, all providers can be taught all the other things that make peers unique, but they can never tell their own story.
Right, and peers can be so valuable in so many different ways. If you're trying to buy a house, you want to connect with people who have recently bought a house.
Right.
If you're getting married, you want to connect with people. Well, what's the process? Where did you look? How did you find a good photographer? Those kind of things. If you're having children, or if you have an elderly parent who's in need of care, you go to other people and look, well, what did you do? Did you seek out a nursing home? Did you do in-home care? And that kind of peer support has been invaluable for people in all different arenas, and it's now finally getting the attention it deserves in terms of people with mental health issues. So it's exciting to see because it's extremely valuable.
Oh, definitely.
Now, Susan, you run a lot of groups in terms of peer support groups and things like that. Can you tell us about a couple of the groups that you're running now?
A couple of the groups that we're running now, there's a group that we do called Creating Healthy Connections, which is about limits and boundaries and being safe with oneself and how to really just feel safe with oneself and not settle for negative company just because you don't want to be alone. And it's actually out of the Mary Ellen Copeland book, The Loneliness Workbook.
Oh, fantastic.
And, that's on Tuesday nights.
Oh, cool.
And we're actually starting a new group. Its debut will be on April 3rd.
Ooh, okay,
Saturday.
You heard it here first. Boston Neighborhood Network, Employment for All.
2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, April 3rd. It'll be a great smorgasbord of talent. We have a few people coming doing comedy and music.
Wow.
And people will display their artwork, and we're going to have some fruit and cheese and coffee, and it'll just be a great opportunity for people to display their fun and diverse talent in a relaxed atmosphere.